Hey guys, Henry Kaminski here from the Passionpreneur Inner Circle, and this is episode number 26 of the Passionpreneur video podcast. We have an awesome guest on today's show, Sherris Sokolowski from SLS Event Planning and Consulting. And we go back about 2 years now, Sherris, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Holy cow, yeah. So Sherris, for those of us or those out there that do not know who you are, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got started with SLS.
Absolutely. I have been in the entrepreneurial industry for a little over 12 years now. And I started back with Bill Glazer when he owned Glazer Kennedy Insider Circle. I was his executive assistant, and shortly after I started, he treated the position as an apprentice position, and I started doing their event planning. He brought in an expert from the industry to teach me, and so I could learn hands-on, which was the best way to do it. And the awesome thing about that was being his executive assistant, I was his right hand. So through the whole process from A to Z of what it took to put an event together, I was part of at some point, some fashion. Wow. Whether it was, having my hands involved in it, sitting back and watching other people get involved, every little single aspect of it, which was very, very awesome for me. And I ran his events for about 8 years when he sold the company. I continued doing them until I didn't like the change within the business. And I thought, hey, I've been in this industry for close to 10 years. Why don't I get out and stretch my wings? So I started SLS back in 2012. And a lot of the people in the industry, like Russell Brunson, Ryan Dice, all those folks said, oh, well, I want you to start doing my events. So went out on my own in January 2012 and been going strong ever since.
That's awesome. So let's back up a second there, because you kind of just glazed over a few things that were like, oh yeah, I just was Bill Glazer's right hand man, and I've done events for Russell, I've done events for Ryan. What did you do that got those folks to be like, wow, Sherris legit?
Well, I think because they knew me, like Ryan's like my little brother, he'll tell you that. And Russell, we're good buds as well. We've known each other for almost 12 years. I think because they saw all the work that I did in conjunction with Bill and the team that we had. I was in their mastermind meetings, with being the fly on the wall, where Bill was in there with all of these gurus in the industry, talking about their business, what's gone wrong, what's gone well, how can that work? And I have to be honest, Henry, up front, it was all a foreign language to me. I came from the nonprofit world, the corporate world. This is my first time in the entrepreneurial industry. So those that are listening to you now thinking, can I do this? It's brand new. I don't really quite understand it. Hang in there, because it's going to come to light. It's going to start clicking. It's going to start making sense. And what I thought was really kind of cool, what Bill did and all of these people, is it didn't matter what business you were in. It didn't matter the industry, because that was the whole point of what Bill taught all those years, is that if you're a dentist, a chiropractor can learn from you. If you're a lawyer, a B2B can learn from you. A real estate, it didn't matter, because that was the whole point, is doing and putting the marketing out there that was different than everyone else, to set yourself apart from everyone else. Once I got that.
Time out real quick. You said something powerful. Yeah. Doing and putting the right marketing out there.
Yes, indeed.
If you don't do, you don't have a business. You don't have clients. You don't have customers. You don't have sales. So not to cut you off, but.
Oh, no, it's important. Yeah. And it's important in events too. It's market match, right? That old saying is, you got to make sure that who you're marketing to matches. And so I learned all of this, and that's what I took away from it. And because people saw me be able to take all of this learning from Bill, and once they knew, they got that little insight from me. The last event I did for GKIC, that I was going out on my own, they're like, Sherris, can you do my events? So a lot of people that come to me are folks that have seen what I've done in the past, or they've seen me do the events that I've been doing with Russell and them, or they've been referred to me. I mean, it's been a wonderful past 5 years of people just saying, hey, go to Sherry. She knows what she's talking about because of who she's been with, who she's been around.
Yeah. So that's powerful stuff. So I want to dissect that a little bit, because
Absolutely.
this is powerful. So one is you're showing and proving every day by actually getting out there and doing, right? So so not only that, but you've got around the right people. I always say you get around the right people, the right things start to happen, right? So that's powerful stuff. And I want the audience to understand that that's the key. You get around the right people, and that will open up doors that you would not imagine. But without that, you have to get out there and see. I've seen Sherry in action. She is no joke. When it comes to event planning and the scale of events that Sherry does, like, the scale is wild. And to watch her, she is like the conductor in the orchestra. Like, and it's amazing. I see you when you put your game face on, it's intimidating almost. But I mean, so I'm not the only one that recognizes that, hence why she constantly gets referrals and constantly is in business. So I want to ask you, I want to go take a step back a little bit, because I'm a big branding guy and I love hearing people's whys and I love hearing people's stories. What got you into event planning, and where'd that passion come from?
That's a great question. And not everyone's asked me that question in that very same way. The passion came from, going back a minute, I didn't like the way the company was changing. So when Bill sold the company, I didn't like the way it was going. And I thought to myself, got to get out of here. I've lost the passion. I've lost the interest of doing what I'm doing. And we all know, especially those that are listening to this, if you're not, you don't mind putting the hours in. You don't mind working those long hours, 5, 6, 7 days a week, being away from your family, if you love what you're doing. And I was no longer loving what I was doing. So, I thought about it. I prayed about it. I'm a very big believer, big Christian. And my husband and I prayed about it. Like, what can I do? Where can I go? I can't do this anymore. Plus, you can appreciate this. We wanted to start a family. And we knew the stress that I was under was not allowing it to happen. So, one day, I think the Lord spoke to me and said, look, Sherry, you love and know what you're doing in event planning. Why don't you just do it yourself? So, through talks with my husband, I said, look, why don't I do this? And he was able to support me not only as a husband and a best friend, but he was in a great place in his job to where he said, look, let's do it. We don't have a child to worry about financing right now. The finances for that is involved. So go for it. So we started putting the pieces together, and I was getting excited. I was like, oh, I could do this, because I was building the relationships through the years with the hotels and vendors and such, and had those connections. And as you know, Henry, when you get into the right industry, the right niche, the entrepreneurial world, we all look out for one another. We want each other to succeed. That is the big difference from, I believe anyway, from the corporate industry to the entrepreneurial industry. Small businesses, medium to large businesses, we all want each other to succeed. And I was able to rely upon the relationships that I've built over the years. And I just took off from it, and people were seeking me. It's finally gotten to the point every year my business has grown. Thank you, Lord. Praise the Lord for it. Last year was the first year where I reached 6 figures.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you. A solopreneur in this industry. That's just, I wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. And to the point where this year I'm bringing on someone to help me, because I can't do it anymore by myself.
You've broken the glass ceiling.
I have.
You've broken the glass ceiling. So I want to reflect for a second and highlight something else that you just said that was absolutely amazing. I told Sherry before we went live, I said, this episode is going to be fire. And I was like, I hope I don't interject every 5 seconds, but you're dropping some serious value here. And I just want to highlight the one thing you said, relationship building. And that is the name of my game when it comes to branding your business and connecting with your audience. And it all starts there.
Absolutely.
So how do you get to six figures when you're skipping that part? You can't.
Right.
It's
You can.
impossible. It's impossible. And the other thing that she said that really stood out was that entrepreneurs like to lend a helping hand to other entrepreneurs. And I heard this, I forget who said it, but they said business is a team sport.
Yes.
And so you have to be able to lend a hand, and you have to be able to uh, take a hand
Right. Get out
when
of
it,
your own way.
yeah, when it comes to taking your business to the next level, which Sherry is about to do. And that's a beautiful segue into sort of the next part of the conversation is, now that you have this help, how has that helped you expand?
Well, it's allowed me to now be able to say yes to more clients. The one thing that I love, going back to the one question you had earlier, where's my passion? My passion is to help people. Events to me aren't about just putting on a show. It's about how events can grow your business and take it to the next level. Not
Mhm.
just the here and now of that particular event, but how can that event continue growing on that momentum of growing your business through a product or service or what have you. So because of me just being me, the solopreneur, I can only be at one place at one time. So I cannot, I ran into that situation this year where people have been wanting me to do an event for them and be on site, but I'm already dedicated somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the relationships I've had with people and the kind of sort of hand holding, if you will, of walking it from the beginning to the end, in the front and the beginning, my passion of relationship building is making sure that I'm completely open, honest, transparent from the very beginning with my clients. So as I'm building this new relationship with the person I'm bringing in, she's aware of it as well. And I think this is also important for those listening, that when you bring on someone to help you in your business, whether it's an employee, consultant, a partner, make sure you guys are on the same wavelength, right? She's a Christian. For me, for me, that's very important to me because I know she's going to represent me and my brand well,
Mm-hmm.
that we're looking out for others. We're here to serve. We're here to look out for others. And by bringing her on, it's going to allow me to do that more for other clients, so that if I'm not able to be on site, I'm still able to help them from beginning to end, but then maybe have her on site to help them with the on-site management. And I know they're going to be happy and satisfied because they're getting that same treatment.
Yeah. So take the time and find the right person. It may feel like it's a
Absolutely.
chore. We're going through, my wife and I are going through the nanny situation now. Like the baby's not due until August, but my wife's a planner, and she's very proactive. And so we're doing the interview process now.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so it's so important to find that person that jives. And when I grew my team, I mean, and I'm constantly growing, but we just hired another designer last week, and we had a conversation, and it was a half an hour long. I gave him my values, I gave him everything I got, and I said, "Does this line up with what you are?" And it was either a yes or a no. Obviously, he said yes, but that was it. And I like, this is what I tolerate, this is what I don't tolerate. And so when you're clear, transparent, and upfront with all of that, there should be no surprise. And now the guy
Absolutely.
he's been on board for 2 weeks, and he's crushing
Nice.
the work. And so
Yeah.
it saves a lot of resentment, a lot of time, a lot of wasted energy when you do
Exactly.
what Sherry does. Oh man, don't let this happen to me. I had an awesome question and I lost it. Um, ba- 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 ba. So we were talking about expand. Oh,
Mhm. Oh, lost you. I lost you. I lost you. Don't know what happened, Henry, but I don't know if I should get off and get back on. I'll give you a minute.
You there?
I am.
Oh my God. All right. So I don't know where we dropped, but let me go back for a second and just recap on what I just said. Where did you lose me, Sher? Do you remember?
Right when you were getting ready to ask the question that you remembered to ask me.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so thank God we got connection back. That's what happens when you go live and do this video stuff. So one of the questions that it's not even a question, it's what I captured, and I thought that this was a very unique branding proposition for you, which I'm sure you know, but when you said it's not about putting on a show for my audience, it's not about putting on a show. It's about helping the person that I'm putting the show on for to get more business. Exactly. And that I've never heard an event. I never saw an event planner take that angle before. It was always like, let's make sure that the audio is correct and flawless. Let's make sure that the video is flawless. Make sure that everything goes as planned and there's no hiccups. Like when I think event planner, I think that. And you just have this unique position where you're not only creating this event to make it awesome and make it memorable and make it, the show, but you're helping that person that's putting the show on generate more revenue, generate more business. That is a very powerful piece of value, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm so floored by that. So, I mean, God, I'm speechless. I don't even know where to go from here. But the point is like, I want the audience to understand. You see how Sherry took a business that has hundreds and thousands of people that do what she does.
Right.
And she carved out a little piece that made her unique, which is we're not only going to put on an awesome show, but we're going to put on a show that's going to help you make more money.
Right.
So I'm talking to the audience now, where can you find that corner in your business that's going to separate you from everybody else that's doing what you're doing? And that's powerful stuff. I mean, I'm blessed to have found that myself. I mean, I'm a designer by trade, but a lot of designers don't have the branding and the marketing background that I do. Vice versa. The branders and the digital marketers don't have a clue on how to design a logo, website, sales funnel, all that stuff. So I found my niche. I found a corner that nobody can touch me. I mean, they can. Listen, I'm not the only guy on the planet, but that's what I'm rolling with. That's what I'm sticking with. And that's what you got to do to really make you unique. I mean, so that's awesome stuff. So I'm so happy that we got the video back and we got the audio back. I was like, we're going to do this all over again right now if we don't.
I was hanging tight. I'm like, no, he's on there because he's saying it's recording. I'm just going to wait.
So, Sher, I could talk to you all day. I mean, this is great stuff, but I'm going to wrap this up. We have a few minutes left, but what were some of let's talk about, it sounds like you've had a hell of a career, solopreneur career. And let's talk about now, because this is kind of some of the juicy stuff and you could go as deep as you want, but where were some of the challenges? Where were some of the things that you got stuck and you were like, how the hell do I get out of this? Like, how the hell can I break through this? What were some of the challenges that you faced? Because I know there's actually some passionpreneurs in the group that do exactly what you do. So this would be helpful to them.
That's a great question. And I have faced challenges before in the areas that are new to me. And what that means is if I've come across, like say, for example, a new industry, I have a new client that's coming on board, brand new industry for me. And if I had that mindset that says, I'm afraid to take that leap. I'm not sure that I can bring the value to you that I can bring to others because you're brand new to me. I don't want to stop that. I don't want to not jump off that ledge, because what's going to happen is not only will I not be able to grow and learn something new, but I'm preventing that other company from being able to take advantage of what I can offer others. So I've had that challenge come up before where they need something brand new that I've never faced before. And I'll say, and I'll be, again, going back to the transparency where I'll say, look, I may not know this answer and I may not know how to provide this for you, but I know people in the industry that I can reach out to and get that answer for you. That's where those relationships come into play. So that old saying where, don't burn bridges, it's so, so true, because you just never know when you need to go back to someone for help. So I would say that's one. I've had a challenge years ago when I first started out with unions, and where, depending on where you're going to have an event, you could be faced with the challenge of needing to deal with a union situation. And it cost my client money because I didn't know to ask these specific questions up front. I knew that this was the city they wanted. So even if I found that out, they would have been able to know up front it was going to cost them several $1,000s more because it was a union town. But we didn't know that going in. And I felt terrible. I was like, oh, my career's over before it begins. How can I do this? And I was so apologetic, but you can only apologize so much where the money comes into play. And they, because of the relationship, again, that I had with them, they were completely understanding. They said, look, Sherry, it's a lesson learned for all of us. We didn't know to ask the question either. So let's just know moving forward. And I knew. So I then changed my business to where these were the questions I had to ask. And it's actually paid off, because then from that point forward, hotels knew they were going to be put through the ringer with these questions. And I had it bite them in the butt next time around when I had a client where I had clauses in place for them that protected them. And then when it came time to finalize the audiovisual for them for the event, the hotel pushed back and said, well, wait a minute, we're a union hotel. And I'm like, too bad. So they wound up having to pay my client money.
Wow.
Because of that.
What a great experience. I mean, there's always that underlying, what do you call it? Lesson learned.
Exactly.
When it comes to that. I had a recent situation very similar. It was copywriting issue and we got it straightened out. But had I not done my research or talked to an attorney, I would have wound up paying not hundreds of thousands of dollars, but thousands of dollars for this copywriting thing. And when the attorney was like, well, when was it copyrighted? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, was it copyrighted then? You don't know a dollar. You don't know a dollar. And I was like, holy crap. So lesson learned, you don't do X, Y, Z, and you ask these valuable questions to help you guide you in the future. I think that was brilliant. So, I would look at that as, I feel bad for that client too. I do. I really do, because those unforeseen circumstances are like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Really?
Right.
But you just got to push through.
You do. And the really great thing about that situation was the silver lining was it was a lesson learned for both parties, them and me, that could benefit others down the road. And they looked at it as though, okay, we need to make up this kind of money. So where can we make up the money? So they live streamed the event, sold tickets, and there was their money to pay for the mistake that Sherry brought upon them of this union fee. And it saved them in the end. So that's another thing that as you're learning and growing, and it's so funny because I used to laugh back in the day when I would see Bill get up from his desk and just wander around and walk around, and then we're at Mastermind meetings, him or the other guru in the room is walking around. I do it now too when I'm on the phone with someone, because your mind is going and you're like, how can I, let's not sit here and focus on the problem. Let's focus on the solution. Let's figure out how we can make this negative thing into a benefit and move on from there. And I think that's what your folks that are listening to this need to remember and recognize. It's always going to be a challenge. How can we get over it?
Yeah. Yeah, don't focus on the problems. Focus on the solutions. It's funny. I was talking to my brother-in-laws. They just got out of their first year of college. They're very entrepreneurial in spirit. They've had a couple businesses already do pretty well, and it was interesting. And we were talking about one of their businesses, and they were kept talking about, well, the problem here is the problem here is the problem that is. And I'm sitting at lunch, and finally I exploded. I go, guys, I hear a lot of problems, but I don't hear a lot of solutions. And like I snapped them out of this, and they didn't even realize they were saying it, but they would start every sentence with, "Whoa, the problem is." And then after I exploded, when I started to ask additional questions, it was immediate that they started to think solution based. And I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, that's important stuff. I mean, you focus on problems, you will constantly have problems. You focus
You're
on
not going to get anywhere.
You won't.
You're constantly digging a hole. Even if you come up with a solution with whatever situation you're in, the challenge that you're in, at least you're moving forward. You may take a step forward and 2 steps back if the solution doesn't work, but at least you're still trying to move forward.
Yeah. That's gold right there. That's gold right there. Sherris, we're going to wrap this up, but let me ask you one last question. What would be one piece of advice that you can give either a new business owner, an entrepreneur who's just starting out, or someone who has been an entrepreneur 5-6 years, looking to break through the glass ceiling like you just did? What's that one thing that they can focus on from Sherris that will help them bust through?
Gosh, the one thing. Okay, the one thing I would say is find your passion and move forward on that passion. You may be in a business right now that you thought was your passion, or you're trying to figure out a way to revamp it, to wake it back up. Doesn't necessarily mean stop what you're doing. Just find that passion. A lot of people, I see this, you get burned out because you have this idea that this is what I want to do with my life. This is the business I want to create. And you get so wrapped up in the day-to-day that you forget what that original passion was. And you have to take a step back and remember that. And if you focus on that, then everything else will fall into place. For me, it's serving my clients, and everything else around that falls into place. And if I lose that passion of why I started this business to begin with, then I need to take a step back and remember I'm here to serve my clients.
So powerful. Sherris, thank you so much. That reschedule that we had to do last week was so worth it.
It would have never worked because I don't think my internet came back up to that night, like 10 o'clock at night. So.
Oh my God. So again, Sherris, I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you being part of the show. Appreciate everything that you just gave. And for those of you that are looking to create large scale events, or medium to large scale events, and you need an expert at this stuff, Sherris is your girl, and I will vouch for her. I've seen her at multiple events now, and she puts on one hell of a show. And so, Sherris, I appreciate everything that you gave our audience today, and we got to have you back on.
Absolutely, I would love it.
Yeah. So guys, there you have it. Episode number 25 of the Passionpreneur video podcast. Again, my name is Henry Kaminski, and we will catch you on the next episode. Take it easy, guys.